Hello, everyone, and welcome to this week's episode of Coffee Talk. Also, the last episode of Season 4. Thank you all so much for joining us on this seasons-long journey. We appreciate you. If you just joined, Coffee Talks is a short in-between episodes where we read your user-submitted stories, hang out with friends, talk about witchy pop culture, or chat with you about what's going on in our personal practices.
And if you want to be featured on Coffee Talk next year, email us at submissions@coffeecauldrons.com, or you can send us your submission on our website, coffeeandcauldrons.com. You can send us your tips, your ghost stories, or any funny story you think the community would love to hear. Be sure to let us know if we can share your name, or if you prefer to stay anonymous. Your social media usernames are also a great way to get credit. And we have like a whole different way to submit to us.
Yes.
Is exciting. You can leave us a voicemail at our number, which is 351-207-0799. And we're going to start that literally next season. So yeah, drop us some good ones.
I'm very excited. I think it's going to be so fun.
Me too.
This week, Maria and I... Oh, wait. Before we get into what we're talking about this week, so listen to me. I forgot. This is why we have... this is why we have a recording sheet, so that way I can stick to the PowerPoint.
It was also my fault, because I went straight to the numbers since
you know what? This is actually... you know what, Maria? It is your fault that I'm illiterate.
I know.
Before we get into what we're talking about this week, I wanted to remind you guys that we do have a class on December 20th at 11 a.m. It will be hosted by SM Harlow. This is a class on tea magic, and it is for the library tier and up. If you are somebody who really wants to watch this class, but you got stuff going on at that day, at that time, whatever, it is available immediately to watch as soon as we start going live. So it will be available forever.
Yeah.
By just joining the library tier. So we hope to see you there.
And you get past classes, like what?
And a million articles and everything else. Like,
gosh, what a deal. Sorry, go ahead.
So going on to what we're talking about this week, which I said in the right order, as is good and normal. We are answering your questions. We put stuff out onto the World Wide Web, onto the interwebs to hear your guys' questions about us, about our practices, etc. We aren't going to have time to get to all of them. We just aren't. So we are going to do our best to answer as many as we can.
And also, I do want to mention, a lot of people ask specific magic-related questions, which we weren't doing. We were just talking about our personal practices and things along that
Maybe I wasn't clear about that before, and that's my mistake. So that's nobody's fault. We're gonna let me take the fault for that one. We're gonna let me take the fault for that one. I'm sexy, hot, and beautiful, and I do not need to be perfect at all times.
I thought you are perfect at all times. Aren't you?
Well, I am perfect at all times. That's the paradox.
That's so funny.
So silly.
But you ready to get into our questions?
Where was I going with this?
Yeah, we're going to get into the questions.
You ask our first. What is our first question?
Okay. Should we do this in our sensual voices?
No, we talked about this. Everyone will stop listening to us.
No, it's just the question, not the reply. Just kidding. But okay, so favorite thing on your altar. What is it?
Well, you go first, because this is complicated for me, so you go first.
Oh my goodness. Okay. Something that is consistently on my altar, which I really love. I have on my reading table, you'll see it on my social media, of the sun and the moon. They're like little ornaments that I stick on my table, and I love them very much. They're just cute and little antique-y little brass discs, and they're just very cute. And I love them very much. And then, but my new favorite thing that I just added to my altar is a pentacle board that has a spot for 3 candles on it, and that was from Tamed Wild, but it is so cute, and I think it's obviously very aesthetic and gorgeous. But I don't know, I love it very much, and I love incorporating it into my readings. I typically don't invoke like the elements and all that when I do readings, but I've been actually doing that more so lately, using the pentagram to invoke them right before my reading. I just think it sets the mood and it's really pretty. And then with the like 3 candles holders on them, I call upon the spirits of past, present, and future to aid me in my reading, which I dig. But yeah, what's the favorite thing on your altar?
So, as you guys probably know, part of my practice, I work with spirits, the dead, ghosts, etc. And so my favorite part of my altar is actually so stupid. It's not stupid, but it is it's stupid if you didn't know the nuance of my practice. And that is items that represent those who have passed that are like near and dear. So like my husband has Turkish delight that he's put on on my altar for his mother who has passed. We have cigarettes on there for my grandfather. I have wine on there for my other grandfather. And so to me, my favorite part of my altar is that stuff, because it's so silly if you just look at it. Like, if you just looked at it and you were to see, like, Carlo Rossi and Turkish Delight, that's a little silly.
Come back.
Carlo Rossi's come back once again, baby. But it's a little silly, right? Like,
it's not silly, it's special.
Well, if you were to just see it, is what I mean. Like, if you were, you'd be like, why the fuck do you have that candy? But
well, I mean, I think we all have like those sort of things. Because I have like nutmeg on my altar for a specific reason. But whatever, go ahead. And
I've got like a Topo Chico bottle that is like charmed as like a protection word for my husband. So like when you look at it, it is like the most chaotic, like, but it's so like it's important to me, and like but it's so silly, like on like a first brush level, that it I don't know, it really makes me giggle, and I enjoy that.
I love that, especially the wine. I'm just imagining a jug underneath your altar that you refill, and you're like, "Here, Grandpa, the wine, the wine of kings."
Listen, Bob was a lot of things, okay? But he loved Carlo Rossi. He loved it. He was a trash man. We love that for him. Oh, my goodness. All right, our next question is, what glamour magic do you like to cast?
Do you want me to go first, or do you want?
Sure.
Okay. My favorite form of glamour magic is actually just red lipstick. Like I put it on with intention and all that. And well, I guess I have a few, but red lipstick's definitely my favorite. But I put it on for confidence and for like a power boost. You know, very Aries. It's fine. And then I consider this kind of like glamour magic. But when I'm in the shower, I actually ask Aphrodite to like bless my shower, and like if I have like a pimple or anything, I'd be like, can you help me hide it through makeup as I'm washing my face and stuff.
You do so well. I've seen those. I've seen them every once in a while. She's got a monstrosity on there, and she hides it like a boss.
Thank you. Well, thank you, Aphrodite. I mean, you do a lot. But you know, I just I love asking Aphrodite to help me with my like glamour magic routine. Obviously it can't be as beautiful as you, but if you could just lend me some of that beauty, I would be very appreciative.
It's so true. I am such a goddess. Everybody is trying to get on this level, and I get it, you guys. If only you knew.
But also I don't shy away from like an outfit that makes me feel good, and I'm wearing with the intention of making me feel good. But anyway,
I like that.
Thank you.
For me, I used to use it with my hair. I know I'm going, well, I'm not used to. Like, my hair is a really big symbol for me of like where I'm at with my life and my practice and like what I'm trying to project. And so I'm currently going through a different phase with my hair. And embracing my grays, which is in a way a form of glamour magic for me as well. Like, because it is a really big connection to my bigger practice that I still think my hair is a huge part of it. And then the other thing I really like to do is I always have my nails done. If my nails are not done, I'm not doing well. Check in on me. But my nails being done is a huge part of glamour magic for me, down to choosing color correspondences for certain fingers, etc. My nail tech, Carly, who's amazing, has just kind of learned to adapt to my insane requests. And I've had to, of course, adapt that over time because I have a child now and my nails are not like razor sharp claws like they used to be. But I'll put symbolism in my nails, etc. And for me, that is like a base level that I can then charge later.
Yeah, I love that.
Yeah.
So our next question is books we love on our deities, spirits, or whatever we, worship, or, not worship. Worship was a bad word, but commune with.
Worship. Tell us more about who you worship.
Who do you work with, and what books do you love on them?
I'm a really big lover of non-traditionally published books because of my practice. So like,
gosh, such a hipster. Anyways, go ahead.
Listen, I'm like not like other girls, okay? So I'm from San Francisco originally, and because of that, there's a festival, or there was, maybe it's been canceled since we've left, but there used to be an annual festival that was a zine festival. If you're not familiar with what a zine is, because you're young, hot, and beautiful, it is an abbreviation for magazine. It's not a zine, it's a zine. Don't say that or I'm gonna scream. And because of that, though, you would get these really cool and amazing short format magazines that were filled with somebody's perspective. And some of my favorites, like written works, have come from zines. And in fact, we had Yunin Kirkbride on here, who did do a series on death witchery zines that were incredible. I also really like, I don't know if they like have a publishing house or anything like that, but there's these little red books that are self-published through Amazon. I'll put it in the caption because I really don't want to mess up the name.
Okay.
But they're just these like short format little tiny books that you get I think you get the most information out of it because it's not filled with a bunch of fucking fluff. Which unfortunately in the larger publishing world, we do find sometimes. Not all the time, not most of the time even, but I don't know. I work with Santa Muerte, I work with the dead, and it's harder sometimes to find books that talk about what I want to read about. Yeah. Without being filled with a bunch of fluffy garbage.
We don't like fluffy garbage.
What about you, madame?
So I work with Hecate, and so my favorite book on her, I know this book is always like pushed for her, but Liminal Rights, it's just the perfect book. It goes over everything, her many faces, her many names, because she has many names and many different faces, and it's just so thorough, and it just really gets you involved in the folklore and anyone that not folklore, mythology that she interacted with, and how she's connected to certain gods, and even how she even predates Greek mythology and stuff like that. So I don't know, that book is very good, and if you want to start working with her, definitely start there. But I work with a lot of Greek deities, and unfortunately there's not a lot of books out there for them. And so I read a lot of academic articles, and I, of course, read the mythology on them and all that. But I find academic articles are very helpful because they go into what they have found through digs and things like that. And I find you get like a very well-rounded and not like, as Robyn said, fluffy, where you're going to be getting people's, which there's nothing wrong with it, but getting people's personal relationship with the deity. I
don't think there's anything wrong with that, but I also feel like I feel like the only problem with it is it's not clearly stated sometimes that's what we're talking about. I don't think there's anything wrong with that, but don't tell me that that's your personal experience.
Yeah.
Don't tell me that that's like a historical context or, you know, I can't think of the word. Not
solid fact.
Well, not even solid fact. What's it called? It's common gnosis. Thank you.
Oh yeah.
Thank you, myself.
A UPG, right?
Well, you have unverified personal gnosis, and then you have common gnosis. So like lavender being for like relaxation is common gnosis, right? Yep. So I just feel like it's not an issue that they include those things. I just feel like it needs to be clearly stated. Otherwise, you are just filling us with a pack of fluff.
Yeah. But obviously, we just had Rachel Henderson on, and she had Rosemary and Lemons, which is about Hestia, which I really, really love. That's such a beautiful book. It's so good. And then I also work with like spirits and guides and things of that realm. So I really love the book Honoring Your Ancestors. I don't know who it's by right now off the top of my head, but honestly, you type it in anywhere and you can find it. But it's such a great and thorough book and straight to the point on how to interact with like spirits that connect with you and things along that nature. So yep. Those are what I recommend.
I love it.
Thank you.
For your worship. Our next question is, what does our typical routine look like daily, weekly, or monthly? Would you like me to go first?
Sure, go ahead.
I'm a chaos witch. No, I'm not. That was a joke.
No, she's just chaotic, guys.
She's just chaotic. It's like, you know, the expression, it's not chaos magic, you're just chaotic. That's me.
Parkour.
So for me, I used to have a daily practice that encompassed, hello. Encompass, pulling a daily tarot card every day, journaling every morning, all this, lighting my candles, getting my incense going, etc. Then I shit out a child. And I don't know if you've ever tried to tell a toddler to not touch mommy's tarot cards when I'm trying to pull them, but that's like asking a dog to not bark. You've said to not do it. I will do it 100 times more. So I've had to adapt that a little bit more to be way more fluid than how it used to be for me. So for me on a daily level, it's making sure that I get my candles lit at some point before my day truly starts. And just taking that few moments to kind of like focus and just be present in that moment. Yeah. I also can't light incense the same way I used to because of my kid and us being in a tiny home. So there's just little adaptations there. On a weekly level, I try to do some form of cleansing in my home weekly. That could be sound cleansing, that could be smoke cleansing, that could be water cleansing, salt cleansing, etc. But I try to do something, right? And then on a monthly level, I try to set goals for myself in terms of like rituals or spell work and mapping my month out around that, around the moon, around the days of the week, around what's going on with me, etc. How about you?
So daily, I do the whole, first I have to have my coffee. So right now.
Don't ask me to do magic until I've had my coffee.
Oh, well, wait. In the coffee grounds, I kind of choose which like spice or herb that I want to, like the intention I want to set for the day.
Put that on like an annoying millennial t-shirt.
But first, coffee.
Don't ask me to ritual until I've had my coffee.
Exactly. But right now it's pumpkin spice, which I correspond to prosperity and protecting that prosperity. But I'm sure I'll switch to peppermint as we get closer for like communication and for like general happiness. And then, okay, what do I do next? Then I obviously have to work. I work and do all that. And then after my work day, I like to go sit outside. If I can't sit outside because of the weather or whatnot, I just get cozy somewhere in my house and I journal for like, I don't know, 15 minutes. And then I pull some cards reflecting on the day and then pull some cards on what's happening tomorrow. And, then actually I've been lighting my candles when the sun sets, which is earlier and earlier every single night now. And I light my candles for Hestia. I light my candles for Hecate. And then I leave an offering of something for my guides, like either water, coffee, or if I'm making like a soup or a stew, I try to leave them out like a little bit.
That's nice.
Thank you. And then weekly, I do the same thing as you. I try to cleanse. Like I do at least one day where like I clean my house, you know, with purpose, and I do a cleanse, like a energetic cleanse in some way or another. And then weekly, I also consider like, what's going on right now? Like, what am I struggling with? What am I having problems with? And then maybe I'll see like when would be the correct time to like do like a little bit of spell work or things like that. And then monthly, the same as you, like I plot, like my planner is crazy. Like when a new month starts, I go through it and I fill out like important dates of what I need to do and dates that I need to keep an eye on, like as you said, the moon and stuff like that.
Our calendars, Maria and I have a shared calendar, and then we also have private calendars, and our calendars are psychotic.
So bad.
Like, not to be dramatic, but we have the most insane schedules imaginable.
Yeah, and
it's
also
fine. It makes us codependent, I think. And
exactly.
I think that codependency is healthy and good and will lead to no problems ever in the future.
Exactly. And I do want to say that this does change all the time, depending on what time of year it is and stuff. Because weekly now, me and my wife have been doing like a magical spell pit like once a week. Like we put some herbs and some spices onto the wood and choose out. Obviously, I've been using birch if you listen to the previous episode, but yeah.
Okay. Well, our last question is actually very fun to me. I think this is such a fun question because I've never thought about it. Like,
oh, we have. We've
kind of thought about things like this, but not. I don't know. I've never been like outright asked. So our last question that we're going to get to today is, would you ever publish a book together? And what is the status of your current whips? I'm going to answer first because I know Maria's answer. The answer is, I absolutely would publish a book with Maria, but she wouldn't publish one with me because she's a hater.
I would. Shut up.
I'm just teasing.
No, I feel like that would be great. Because we've discussed maybe doing a tarot book together where we have our own, like, shared different, like, interpretations, because obviously Robyn and I have different interpretations of cards and things like that. But yeah, no, that would be very fun. My only worry is that we'll be like, I don't want to get frustrated with each other or anything.
No,
like,
absolutely not.
Do you have this section done yet?
I feel like we have a really, really good system
we do.
For the Patreon where Maria and I never fight.
No.
Even when we get like overwhelmed with stuff going on with Patreon, with the podcast, etc., we're really good at communicating about things and like picking up the other person's slack. And I would worry about that for a book because there are deadlines. And
Yes.
you and I are both so like fluid with stuff.
That's why we would have the book done before it ever got published. Like,
Yes. Otherwise, we would kill each other.
Exactly.
100% kill each other. But yeah, we don't fight ever. We really don't ever have arguments. We have sometimes heated conversations, but it's usually not even at us.
That's not even heated. It's
Well,
lukewarm.
that's what I'm saying. It's not really even at each other. It's more we're having a heated conversation and the other one's just like there.
What we do, guys,
my
is
gosh.
we treat each other with compassion and we understand.
Well, not only that, but I do think that our friendship very specifically thrives on the fact that you and I are both incredibly honest with each other, and the other person knows that that honesty is coming from a place of love and not like judgment or trying to be disrespectful
100%.
or anything like that. And so I feel like whenever one person gives the other person like feedback or critique, it's always well received because we know that it's coming from a good place.
100%.
And so I feel like that's part of why we thrive so well.
That's why we're best friends.
That's why we're best friends. And where's your current work in progress, babe? What's going on? Tell us about it.
Maybe I should say kind of what I'm doing.
I think you should.
Should
Tell
I?
everybody what you're working on.
Okay, I'm actually working on an oracle deck.
It's beautiful too.
Thank you. But I'm like doing the whole vintage, well, it's not all vintage, but like collage art to my style. And it's black and white. I know everyone's laughing. It's not gonna be gold.
Okay, but listen, I'm your first hater when it comes to the black and gold. Okay. If there is somebody who's gonna hate that shit, it's me. And this deck is giving a very different vibe than the usual black and gold. And so I think actually if it wasn't the black and white, it would be incorrect.
Well, see, I was thinking of the backs doing some sort of foil like on them, but I don't know. I'm very excited about it. I have 15 cards done, and I think I will be getting more done when work isn't so hectic because I have a lot of stuff to get done and for the holidays. But I could literally knock out a card if I have the idea, if I have the image of it in my mind. I can knock it out in 30 minutes, like easy. But no, like I'm very excited about it. How about you? What are you working on?
I am working on a death book. A book nobody asked for.
Yes, we are. We're asking.
I have already picked the title for it. I've gotten about a third of it written presently. I'm planning to self-publish it. But I'm going to do it with a Kickstarter and like a whole thing. But yeah, I've already titled it and everything. I've got it's going to be done in 2 parts, and I've got the whole first part done, and I'm working on the second part presently. My goal is to have at least the Kickstarter up by like summer. That's my goal.
See, like I was thinking about doing a Kickstarter for the Oracle deck, but I'm like, I don't want to deal with all the customer service aspect of it because that stuff stresses me out.
Yeah. So I don't know. It's one of those things where I've got to do a little bit more research because if I'm going to do this self-published, I really want it to be done properly. And by properly, I think that a lot of self-published books' downfall is the fact that they don't get a real editor. Your friend actually isn't good enough. And so I want to make sure it's done really, really properly and really well, because this next book is going to be something that is probably going to be the most important to me in terms of it being done correctly.
Yeah, and not to mention it's done to your style, because publishers have a lot of say in what goes in on books, and this is your say, which is important.
Well, and I think that's really what it comes down to. I think a lot of people don't realize how many minute details are actually out of the author's hands. Like, for example, my book, Magical Tarot, had a couple of sections in it where they changed the language of things, which to them seemed like no big deal. But like, for example, my instant retribution spell, they changed the word to instant karma, which there's a lot of incorrect nuances when it comes to things like that. Like, hello, Hinduism exists.
Yeah.
Or I had talked about a sachet, I can't say that word, of herbs. They changed it to mojo bag. And so there's just like these little phrases. Like, granted, I was given a copy of the book to fine tooth comb, but I missed, like, literally it's two words and I missed them. And so it totally changes the vibe of things. And I don't like that. And so I want to be in total control of these things. So that way, you know, if I fucked up, it's my fault. You know what I mean? And I can take accountability for that.
Mommy?
So before we go, Maria and I talked about this beforehand. But by the time you're hearing this episode, I probably have made another child.
Yeah! That's for 8.
There you go. So I should have had a baby by the time this episode comes out.
4, 9, go!
And my child was supposed to be here to help with that, but instead, telling you guys, instead, they're just counting down. So, yeah. Do you want to tell people? You say Mama's got a baby?
It does. Mom got a baby.
There you go.
Oh my gosh, my heart.
So yeah, by the time this episode comes out, I am on maternity leave.
Yeah.
Yeah. No surprise, shorties.
Yes, but what's really worth celebrating is I'm going to be aunt for a second time.
Hey, this is actually about you, and I'm glad that you brought it up.
I'm just kidding, guys.
That's so funny.
Yeah, that was so funny.
Oh my goodness.
Oh, we should have them say goodbye.
Yeah.
Say bye, witches. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, well, so normally this is when Maria and I would do our talking head bit where we would give you our little spiel about seeing us next time. But this is the end of the season. So we'll see you next season. As always, you guys, make sure to join us on Patreon or send us your submissions. It's submissions@coffeeandcauldrons.com for ghost stories, witchy stories, tips, or topics that you think the community would love to hear.
And as always, if you enjoy Coffee and Cauldrons, please take a moment to review us on Apple Podcasts. Or if you want to support us directly, consider joining us on Patreon, where we share articles, a special Part 2 exclusive episode, have a Spell of the Month box, and a Discord.
You want to do it? You want to say bye?
Yeah. You say, bye, witches.
Bye, witches.